Hello, everyone. Today I will be serving as your host for this session, and I'm pleased to be joined by Dr. Brinderjit Singh as my co host. So, on behalf of IEEE Canada Educational Service Committees, it's my pleasure to welcome you all to today's expert session under IEEE Canada Global Talk Series, that is Global Insights Wisdom Beyond Barriers. This talk is a unique initiative aimed at fostering global dialogue by connecting learners, professionals, and um, thought leaders across borders. Our goal is to provide platform where participants can gain insights into emerging technologies, career paths, work cultures, and human-centered learning. Before we begin, I would like to respectfully acknowledge that we are gathered on the traditional lands of Indigenous peoples. We recognize their enduring presence, culture, and contributions, and we commit to learning from and respecting their heritage. We honor their past, present, and future contribution, and we recognize our shared responsibilities to foster respect, inclusion, reconciliation within engineering and technology community and beyond. It's now time to introduce our charming speaker for today's session. We are delighted to welcome Umna Asim, a CQV specialist in Canada. She is graduated from University of Toronto. She brings valuable experience in navigating the Canadian work culture, work environment, and supporting individuals in understanding career pathways within Canada. She has gained deep insights into Canadian work culture, job search strategies, and career development, particularly for newcomers and international professionals. Her practical perspectives and real world experience make her an ideal speaker for today's topic. We are truly excited to learn from her expertise, and a very warm welcome to all our participants joining us from different continents. Your presence truly reflects the global spirit for this initiative. We would also like to extend our sincere thanks to our technology partners, university partners, IEEE Student Branch for International Institute of Management and Technical Studies, IMT Studies UK London, IEEE Prakash Bharati India, IEEE Bangalore section, and Chandigarh University. These collaborations play a vital role in making this global initiative successful. I would also like to express our sincere gratitude to Dr. Brinderjit Singh for his continued support in a leadership role. His vision has been instrumental in strengthening this initiative. Presently, he is working, various roles and duties and executing these roles as a part of IEEE Chandigarh subsection, IEEE Prakash Bharati, and working uh, as a faculty at Chandigarh University. With that, I would now invite our speaker, Umna, to take the session forward. Over to you, Umna.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Um, Hello, everyone. My name is Omna. I don't know why my screen sharing, but my camera is not on because of the sharing. So if you have any issues in hearing me or any questions, feel free to ask at any time. So I think we'll start with a quick. Sorry, we'll start with a quick question over who has joined this question, and we can see if anyone is willing to share where they're joining in from. Or if we will be able to see who has joined and from where. Uh,
I would like to welcome Dr. Shweta Tripathi. She is IEEE Women in Engineering from UP section. Welcome you, Shweta, for this session. And we hope that Preeti is also there, that we will make this session a very wonderful section. Welcome, Jagdeep. Your presence means a lot. I hope we will meet this section. Okay. Thank you and welcoming and joining all.
so I think there's people from different places. So I'm guessing there's people from India, and then I'm based in Canada, and I know there's some students and some professionals. So I think we can start with the poll question. Um, and we can ask and see if people are aware of one of the questions that we can ask. Um, how do we want to like ask the poll questions? I guess we can just ask, or we can just release the poll. Uh, sorry, I think I can't hear anyone. Can anyone hear me?
Okay, so I think there is some
Oh,
issue with the poll questions. Give me 1 second, please.
okay.
So we can launch the first question. Give me 1 second, please. Mhm. So here we can go. Mm, Yes, the first question is launched.
Can I repeat the question? How familiar are you with the Canadian workplace culture? Yes, be quick. So somebody's there.
Mm,
You can see the poll on the right top side.
Even you can share your voices if you can. Open to all, please. Brinda, you can
Yes,
take the
Sumna.
lead, please. Yeah.
Yes. So open. Yes. How familiar are you with the Canadian workplace culture? So my answer is that I heard about that, but I'm not sure about how the culture is going on. That's my answer. So anyone who's familiar with that, or very much familiar, or somewhat familiar, they can open the mic and speak here.
Um, but I can share. My name is Jagdeep. I am from Chandigarh University.
Yes. Yes.
So I visited many times in
Hi.
Canada because my husband is there. So normally I just go there in the summer vacations. So the work culture is if you having the job because Canada recently suffering from jobs. So those having the job, the timing punctuality is there. The shifts are there. Sometimes some jobs like that ki you can't sit, only you are having the 15 or 20 minutes breaks are there. and but it's a high paying jobs, but still also the honors, if the Indian honors, the perspective is there. As per my husband, also my brother is there, he's a citizen over there in Canada, Brampton. So he said that ki Indians paying less as comparison to the foreigners one. So this is a paying scale difference. Second, hard work is there. Also we can learn the value for the monies as well, naturally, but also for the we feel for the family values also, because as we are from India, Punjab, so we always miss our food culture, but also we miss there. If I talk about the work culture only, yes, it's good, but somehow some conditions are very critical, so you have to serve while you are joining your job. It's very very effectively, so there is not a like you are going too late or something else. This is I feel, or I listen from my husband and my brother, and also my sister-in-law.
Mhm.
Yes.
Uh,
Did
yeah, I
anyone?
think I would also like to share and add on to the Jagdeep's point that the attitude and the casuality, like the work culture, is like not, you can't take your job as on a casual basis. Punctuality, sincerity, dedication matters a lot. Yes, thank you.
Thanks everyone for sharing that. I think I just want to add one more thing to this as well, is that over here, there's usually in some fields, there is a very hard boundary on establishing a work-life balance. For us, especially like some people who are working in consulting or finance, it's even though those are very high-paying fields, it is very hard to make that distinction and when you can log off work versus when you can stay on. There's some people who are always on call, even though it's just a consulting role, but it's sometimes very hard to manage and see what your priorities are. And I think that is one of the biggest things that a lot of people that I know struggle with as well. Um, but yeah, I hope we get better at making that differentiation. Um, so
One more point I want to add, sorry to disturb you.
no, all good.
uh, there is one complaint also regarding my husband and my brother. They all the time they are doing their job. I just bore at home. I can only enjoy at weekends
Yep.
with them, because the work is there, but they have to go. They can't take leaves.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, it is tough, but I guess we are definitely trying to break that barrier now with people recognizing it. Um, I guess we can move on, and then we'll bring along more questions in between. So I will start with a quick introduction about myself, and thank you for introducing me as well. Um, but my name is Omna Asim, and I am currently working as a CQE, which is Commissioning, Qualification, and Validation Specialist at Trinity Consultants in Advent Engineering, which is their pharmaceutical and biotech sector. We are located in Canada and in the US with projects all across focused on bioprocessing, drug manufacturing, um, new facilities, expansion, building, equipment qualification. So just a bunch of different items that is related to pharmaceutical processing and manufacturing. Um, in my educational degree, I have graduated as an undergraduate in Bachelor's of Science from Chemical Engineering from University of Toronto with a major in bioengineering, a minor in bioengineering and engineering business, which has really helped me in finding my role and continuing my work journey in the pharmaceutical sector. I have been working for almost the past 4 years in different companies like Sanofi, which is a vaccine company over here. I have also worked with pharmaceutical drug transport companies in my role as a consultant with Trinity Consultants, and in my previous roles as well. We work on projects that are focused and based in Canada or the US. So I worked both physically in the US, remotely, and my job is a hybrid of different work activities. Um, so if anyone has any question, you can just let me know and just unmute yourself. But I think we can move on with what my areas of focus are for this presentation. So we are definitely talking about exploring Canadian work opportunities and navigating the work culture. But just a disclaimer that this does apply globally to other markets as well. I know it's a very similar case in the US, and then even in India, with so many different technologies and different industries growing up. So our main focus would be the overview of the Canadian labor market, what job opportunities are in demand and the sectors that are in demand, what you need for work authorization and the job search strategies, and also navigating the workplace culture. And definitely we will take into account all the discussions we just had with the poll. I think we can ask the other question after, but I will focus on the overview of the market right now. So there are major points, which is that we in Canada have a very diverse work field and also diverse economic hubs and industries, with major cities saturated in industries like finance, technology, aerospace, energy, um, healthcare, government, policy. We have a lot of different specialized fields, and we have availability in all those various fields as well, with people coming in. Another point is that we, as a market, are very open to bringing in immigrants who are bringing in a lot of talent and a lot of knowledge in industries like IT, in healthcare, in finance, technology, and with even the new boom of AI with like construction. So we're getting a lot of talent, and we are open to hiring people who are immigrating to come to Canada with their specialized fields. A major part of the Canadian work culture is also employment standards and the inclusion. So I know that there is a mandated minimum wage that we have, but with people who are in industries like healthcare or IT or even finance, there are getting very high and fair wages that help promote more openness to work and more dedication to work. But then they're also focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion to make sure that those workplaces are a good cultural fit for people of various backgrounds and various different traits. The other major thing to note is also that Canada, in its placement geographically, has a lot of different industries that are suited to the province that you would be in. Like there's finance and health tech and healthcare and technology in Ontario, for example. But then there's software development, and then trade, international trade linked in BC, and then there's a lot of different research hubs in Quebec and Montreal, with focus in energy and agriculture in the Atlantic provinces or the prairie provinces. And then there's also opportunities to work remotely to serve employers that are based overseas or also in Canada. So there's a wide variety of jobs that are available, and that there is a lot of experience that is coming with the people that are going into the workforce. Um, So moving on, before I go into this section, I guess for people who have a little bit of experience, we can launch the second poll question. And if we can get that out, and then we can start discussing with this point as well.
So give me one sec. Let me launch the poll.
Thank you.
So it's launched. Thank you.
So poll is at the right topmost. What do you think is the biggest challenge in finding a job in Canada? So those who on the mobile phone, they can answer the answers or vote in their polls. First is resume and interview skills. Second is understanding job market trends, networking gaps, lack of Canadian experience. And any other vote you want to give, you may answer in the poll. Not in the poll, in the chat. Umna, I hope you can see the answers.
No, for some reason I'm not able to. And there's also like some glitch on my end while I'm sharing, so I'm not too sure.
So let me answer the on your behalf. So question was the what do you think is the biggest challenge in finding a job in Canada? So two vote goes to resume and interview skills. One vote goes to understanding job market trends, and zero vote to networking gaps, and two vote to lack of Canadian experience. Total five
Mhm,
votes are there.
mhm. I think I would agree with the breakdown of the votes. I think from my experience and from people that I know were coming into the market, the biggest um I guess uh bottleneck for some people has been the lack of Canadian experience. Although we are very open to bringing in the immigrants, sometimes working in a Canadian environment and working in the Canadian company is where people are lacking. They're bringing in all the talents. Like there's a lot of knowledge coming in from Asia, specifically into Canada, but the application into the Canadian work market is a little it's a struggle for some people. So I think that is one major challenge that a lot of people face. And then also understanding the job market trends. We always say that tech is always going to be booming, but then there are sometimes very specific skill sets that they're looking for in people, and understanding that does take some time. And then when people do get to it, they do excel and get good jobs and are able to be successful. Another thing that I have noticed, and I think that goes for anywhere in the world, is that networking can get you to places that you would normally not have access to. In my experience as well, when I was in university, I was a co-op student, and I was talking to the managers over there and people who were also working with me. So when I was trying to land my job, I was in contact with so many people, and they did actually help me land my first job, because the word of mouth gets you so many places, and that is a very, very uh, essential tool when you are looking for a job anywhere in the world. So I think, yeah, there are a few challenges, but we know that there are opportunities everywhere, and we just need to probe them to get to the place that we want to. But thank you so much, everyone, for sharing. I guess moving on, as we're talking about opportunities, we can look into the specific opportunities and industries that we have in Canada that you can apply for, and how the growth of those companies or industries can benefit so many of the different people that are coming into Canada. So the biggest point is that we do have very high growth industries. We are looking at different institutions like within technology or healthcare, engineering, construction, finance, sustainability. So there's a lot of different opportunities, and we know that the industries are growing rapidly in relation to AI experts or software developers, and then computer science and cybersecurity majors. So there is a lot of growth and a lot of skills coming in towards those industries. With relation to engineering, there are so many different fields that are available with different focus in energy, in power. Nuclear industry is booming, and it's really, really something that people are going to are moving into, and that's something that we've noticed in our workplace as well. With healthcare demands, I know Canada is doing a lot to bring in that skill set. We have so many doctors and so many nurses and pharmacists in Asia, like in India and Pakistan and China. So there's so many people that are coming in with that experience, and it's just something that is needed because there's a gap in between the number of people that are providing that service versus what's coming in. There's always projects and skill trades like engineering, construction workers. There's also technicians and technologists that are coming in, and they're always looking for stuff like that. Um, there's so many in-demand roles that play into this with engineers and technologists and developers and project management managers. So there's always project managers that people are looking to hire for different industries, and that knowledge, I know it is a very specific skill set in like nuclear industries, for example, but the overall understanding of project management and construction management comes from a very different skill set that can be established in any field. And once you're in an industry, you can understand the know-hows of each different sector. So a lot of more important thing is that transferable knowledge in your field and then applying it to another industry is very valuable. One major thing to understand in Canada is that they do value having Canadian work experience, but sometimes when people have such a vast array of jobs and skill sets, when they do demonstrate that experience and familiarity with just the normal work standards, they are more likely to be um, hired and to be very successful in their roles. Um, the other thing to know for a lot of people coming into Canada is that, as we were talking about it, that the pay is good and that there may be pay disparity, but that's where a lot of HR regulations and Canadian regulations come into play. Obviously, the pays are going to differ by the industry, by the location, and obviously education. But there are some people who do break that with negotiation, with getting more benefits, with plans like health plans, retirement plans, vacation time off. There's leaves for family planning. So there's so many different things that people are able to get the compensation for, which makes their overall package higher. Um, Another thing to notice that although there is an overtime regulation in Canada, sometimes people do they don't really manage that well with having a really bad work-life balance. So even though a standard work week would be 40 hours, some people would be working 60 hours on average, and that does lead to a lot of burnout. But in some people's case, they think that that's what's going to lead to career progression and growth. In Canada, that does, like, from my experience, working more hours does not always equate to getting a good role and having growth, as long as you're demonstrating good continuous learning and expertise in your area of work, there's always recognition and there's always support from managers, from mentors to advance your role and advance your path to what you really want to go into. So, for example, right now I'm a specialist, but I am an engineering graduate. I am working towards my professional engineering license in Canada. So, when you do get into those certifications and those licenses, they're obviously going to help you get into more subject matter expert roles or senior roles. So, it's always good to know that there are certifications and licenses that you can apply for and help in advancing your roles. The other thing is that there's also a lot of industry in associations, like IEEE is one of them. So you can network and look at those industry leaders and see what feedback and growth opportunities they can also provide you. So there's like both the aspect of your work, but then there's also the aspect of a community and then helping your community grow. And that those skills just come from a lot of networking, a lot of upskilling, like learning new skills, a lot of flexibility in the type of roles that you're going to get, adaptability, and then also knowing that with the industry evolving, there is growth for you because it's coming from your experience and your talents and skills. So the other aspects of working in Canada or anywhere is that you need work authorization and you need to have the right job search strategies, because without that it might be quite difficult to land a job. Um, so the I'll go over the two major work permits and immigration thing, and then we can go into the other poll. Um, the major thing that we need is a work permit to work anywhere. So Canada does offer temporary work permits that are for short-term or medium-term employment, and they are specific to the employer that is hiring you, and it is open for different programs. But then if you want to get the post-graduation work permit, that's for international students that are coming into Canada, and it's called the PGWP, which is to gain Canadian work experience post graduation after they have completed their studies. And that's, I think, a 3 year open work permit to work anywhere. But then if you want to go into the immigration pathway, there are express entry pathways and provincial nominees, which is for skilled workers that are looking for permanent residence, and that is based on age, experience, education, family background. So it's just a bunch of different things. And then that's for an open express entry for anywhere in Canada. But then provincial programs are more for the provinces. So like Alberta might sponsor someone to work in that province specifically, but that is also so that they can look into the regional needs of that province and of those industries. Um, One major thing to note is that Canada's always open to welcoming immigrants. And if you have a good case and you have a good experience, you can definitely apply and see what options you have available. But if you do have a job and they're sponsoring you, that's always a great option. I think we can go to the next poll question before we can get into the job search strategies. So if we can just launch that, I think we can see what to focus on as well.
So here is it now. I have launched.
So can I read the poll question? Which area would you like more guidance on? Resume building in a Canadian format. Second vote is career pathway planning. Third option is networking strategies. Fourth option is interview preparation. And I think all of the above. So it's, I think quite obvious answer is all of the above. My reason.
I agree. Those are very important sections, and there's always so much that you can learn from people who have that experience. Um, when you're looking for jobs, the biggest thing is planning and then also knowing what platforms to apply on. So there's so many job platforms like LinkedIn, there's Indeed, there's also the government resources where you can see what is available in a specific in a specific province, and it's everything from skilled jobs to minimum wage jobs. So there's a lot of extensive openings and listings that are available on these job platforms. But building into the major thing is that there is a very, very big focus on networking, whether it is through a coffee chat. So let's say someone is looking for a job on LinkedIn. So you will see that maybe that role is like a software developer. So you'll see that company, you'll see people who are working there, and you can reach out to people in a similar role to have a quick coffee chat or a quick email or a quick video chat just to go over what to expect in the hiring process or to get a referral, to understand the different nitty-gritties that are coming into with a specific role. There's also groups, like if you've studied in Canada, or alumni from other universities that you might be able to find in the workplace and for a job that you're applying for. Those are always great resources because sometimes you never know who's going to be an angel in disguise. There's also a major focus on recruitment. So on LinkedIn or even just like profiles, there's different staffing agencies who do look at your LinkedIn profile and look for keywords that are matching their job description so they can hire people with those specialized skill sets for a job, and they're able to fill those positions in. But with that comes like a strategic job search, which includes tailoring your skill sets and your resume towards a specific role so that you're able to track what you've applied for and you're able to track your specific skill set as well, and see how it applies to the industry and the job that you're hiring for, that you're applying for. um a major part in Canadian resume is that they need to be short, but they should be focused on the situation and the action you received from it, and it should be focused on the achievement that you've made for a specific role. So like for example, if I'm applying for a software development position, I need to tell them what software I developed, so that's specific. But then also, if there is a usage of that software, like let's say 100 people are already using it, so that's like an achievement that they can look into and be impressed by, that this is something that is providing value to people who would be using that. And then because they've already established a sort of dominance with something that they've developed, they're more likely to be interested in asking you about it and then also potentially hiring you because you have a very specific skill set that you've already went over in your resume. The other thing is that the interview structure is very different because they don't always just ask you about the technical experience. They also ask you very structured behavior questions, and they also focus on using the STAR analogy, which is situation, task, action, and result. So you're basically building a story of what you did, how you did it, what was the problem, and what achievement or results did you receive, so that they're able to assess people in the story that they're telling, but also making sure it's very situation and task based, and result based, so that they know that there is a strong presence in their skill set and also strong application of their knowledge. One major thing to always note is that whenever you're applying for jobs, open communication is very important. Professionalism is extremely important because people do like to see if someone's professional and it's very respectful in their communication and is able to talk to employers and the HR in a very nice way. Knowing clearly what you want and communicating that is always appreciated more than pretty much bushing around like going around the bush. There are major aspects like follow-up emails or even follow-up questions in an interview that are always that HR or managers are always looking at for knowing that you're interested in applying and you've been paying attention for the roles that you've applied for. Um, the other aspect from the poll was career pathway planning. So a lot of times there's a lot of different talks like this one. Like this is like people that have some experience sharing with a team about what they've been through and what they're going through. So always looking at people and going for mentoring has helped. At least it has helped me in finding a job or finding a good community that can accept you and that can also help you in progressing in your own career goals and your long-term plans as well. So I guess we can move on to the big part, which is knowing and navigating the workplace culture. And this builds into my last point, which is professionalism and communication, and also the core values that come from each industry and each workplace, and then also knowing your rights, managing stress, having a work-life balance, and your well-being. But I guess before that, or I think after that, we can go into the last poll question. So the major part of a work culture always comes from their core values and the way that professional etiquette is translated into the workplace through the workers and through the management as well. So knowing that respect is a big part, it is always important to know that workplaces are working off of the big emphasis on respect, on fairness, and also on professionalism. I know we were talking about how punctuality is a big thing, with people reaching work on time, making sure they're meeting timelines and deadlines. That's always something that is key towards a good, successful work career. Knowing that you are reliable for your employees and for your management is also a great trait that you should always have and you should always embody because it is required and it also helps in long-term growth. A major core value for a lot of companies is DEI, which is diversity, equity, and inclusivity, which means that there's going to be people from different backgrounds, but you're coming together in a workplace in a very respectable environment, and you are not feeling like you're being attacked. It's because it's so inclusive and safe for everyone to be there that it can help foster relationships, but it can also help foster productivity and growth. There's major issues with treatment for different genders, for different ethnicities. So I think with those policies in place, it is always very highly regarded with having a good diversity plan in place and so that it's respectable for everyone. Another major part in navigating a work life is that there's always focus on communication, but also collaboration in constructive criticism and not a lot of different like it's always supposed to be constructive. It's not supposed to put anyone down. Communication is always supposed to be key, even when you're talking to your coworkers or you're emailing them or when you're also emailing your clients or upper management. So it's always to promote respectful interactions. In regards to constructive feedback and teamwork, there's always um a need for knowing how you're doing and knowing how you can make yourself better. So that feedback obviously would help navigate those issues, but then also help improve performance when someone's being given and if a manager is noticing a part where you're lacking in and constructively providing that feedback so you can improve your performance. And that also plays into teamwork and supportive management because individuals can recognize others with the skill set but what they can do to get better and to become a better productive employee, but also overall get better in your role and in your job. The other thing is that there's always a lot of protection for employers towards their employees, and those rights and protections are also um, monitored through Canadian labor laws. There are minimum wages, regulated hours, and then also workplace safety protections that are in place to protect the workforce. There's obviously with the onset of COVID, there's been a lot of flexible work arrangements where people can work remotely, but then there's also leaves that can be put in, and then that promotes work-life balance, obviously, so that people are not frustrated, but they have breaks and they have the time that they need for themselves. And those are also played into the mental stress and well-being part, where people are being offered a lot of resources to support employee well-being, because when a person who's been working nonstop for overtime, there are resources in place which help identify if someone is struggling and how they can become better. And then this obviously helps into understanding what your employees need and how to advocate for them. And that's why some places have unions, and then there's some um management that do one-on-ones to check how the team actually is doing apart from the work life. It's just to see how to manage stress, how to boost productivity, and also make sure that there is a work-life balance that a lot of people fail to recognize. um I think we can go into the last question before we move into the last slide. So if we could just get that in, and then we can see if there's any questions as well.
Uh, it's a request. Those who have any query, they may put in the chat. Thank you. Can we go for next poll?
Yes, it is launched.
Okay, thank you. So, okay,
Sir, there is one question.
okay.
Can I ask?
You may ask Uma.
Yes,
Uh, Actually, as per my working, I'm an academician and also assistant professor in university. So basically, a research scholar. So please, so my question is, what advice would you give to me, engineering researcher or faculty members, who are interested in exploring industry opportunities in Canada?
Yeah, that is a very good question. I think for people who are looking and actively getting into um the process of applying for a job, it's and I'm sure like a lot of people that are on here are very, very experienced. Definitely way more experienced than me in the years of working. I think the biggest thing is knowing the resources that are there to help you. If you are in academia, there are so many people who are in the same boat as you who started off as like an a professor and they moved to Canada with that experience. The biggest thing is that if you have a strong network of students or co-professors or co um, academic supervisors or whoever, reaching out to them, because your professional relationship can actually help in supporting your growth and in supporting your career, because that always helps in um, building a good portfolio, but then also acknowledging that you do bring in very unique set of skills that are coming in. For me, I would say also to look into LinkedIn for research. A lot of my friends who moved here, they were like doctors, and that's in different parts of the world. But when they were coming in, they were looking into people that they worked with in those industries before they moved to Canada, and then they were networking a lot. So I know we always say networking, but networking can get you to so many places that you would never even imagine, because it opens doors that you might not have access to. So even for research, a friend of mine was she was working at U of T, but
Okay.
she randomly found her research professor when she was at a restaurant. So someone overheard her and they were like, I work in this lab, and they were able to like get her into an interview. So there's always so many people on LinkedIn that are actively looking for people to help their research in. And now there's also a lot of AI platforms which are
Okay.
looking for research individuals, so you can work on those remotely. Like I know some people, like I know someone who's a neuroscientist, and they work with AI to develop applications specific to neural pathways. So they were able to find those. So there's opportunities on LinkedIn, but you just need to know what to search for, and who to reach out to, especially if you know people who are in those industries. They can definitely help foster like a good career advancement for newcomers, definitely.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you, ma'am. But you also say that na, ki AI can also help, but
Mhm.
also there is a second question related to this.
Yeah.
Do you see emerging technology like advanced materials, automation, and AI influencing your CQV processes in the near future?
Somewhat,
Isn't it?
yes. Yeah, somewhat, yes. So for a client that I was working on last year, they were going through a major shift in hiring more computer system validation
Okay.
pathways, which is basically implementing like softwares that are through AI, developed through AI, and also using AI, which will literally remove the use of drafting reports and protocols by yourself. So they wanted to standardize that process where you're just putting in that information and AI can produce a protocol or a report for you. So that minimizes the amount of work that they're putting in, but also minimizes the workforce. So I think that is something that has been very prominent in the past, I would say 2 years. But then the aspect of like in my role specifically, I have to basically run a whole process. Let's say we're developing a vaccine, so I have to complete the process of how you start that manufacturing process. That part, because it's a physical requirement, that I don't foresee being replaced by AI, but a lot of the documentation that we're spitting
Okay.
out, that is definitely going to be replaced.
Okay, okay. Thank you, ma'am. As you are a CQV specialist, okay.
Yeah.
So, how do you see collaboration opportunities between industry professionals and academic researcher in the engineering? Any collaborations can be possible?
Yeah, for sure. So, just an example of the same like client that I was with for vaccine development. Um,
Okay.
they are focused on tetanus, pertussis, and diphtheria, which are like one of the major vaccines in the world. The major part where research professionals come in is the process of knowing how to optimize performance for developing the vaccine, but also a lot of times their research is based on the efficacy of the drug, right? So a lot of the
Okay.
research that we were focused on was people who were testing the drug, but then also seeing what effects and side effects
Yeah.
and long-term use brought about. So those professionals were actually affiliated with U of T, and they were
Okay.
in the vaccine development and microorganisms department. So they were testing the new vaccines continually on trying to see what the side effects were, even with knowing what the byproducts were and if seeing they were if there were any use for other vaccines. So there's always a lot of like collaboration between academic professors and with research, and a lot of the people who were working in that role were also part-time students and also part-time teaching advisors for U of T and also TMU in U of T. So a
Oh,
lot of collaboration was definitely there.
okay. And we can find out, like from this official sites, I think, if there's a collaboration and any projects are there, anything
Yeah.
there.
There's a lot of research papers. One
Oh,
of my coworker was helping U of T and TMU professors with research papers. So a lot of their R&D development, and then new I forget what it is, but I know the R&D
okay.
department was releasing a lot of research papers in collaboration with universities.
Okay, okay. So as a skill development, if I want to change, okay, as a researcher or a academia, so if I want to develop or transition into CQV,
Mhm.
or you can say that engineering consulting roles, so how I can transition can be possible? Researcher can move to in your
So
field.
in my field, I think if it's a
If anybody
research.
want to switch, na, with what kind of the skills we
Yeah,
need to
yeah,
develop?
yeah, yeah. I'm trying to think so. Like for my role, I would say it's very transferable. So in my
Okay.
previous job,
Mhm.
because I'm in pharma right now, there were a lot of people that were going into the nuclear industry. So the
Okay.
major part is that the knowledge that you have, you can apply that to any industry. And
Okay.
you can also come from any industry into it, into CQV, but the specifics of pharma are a little different. I think it's because pharma and nuclear are so heavily regulated. It's easy to go
Yes.
from pharma to nuclear, or but it's hard from going from nuclear to pharma if you don't have a background knowledge in it. If someone is trying to move into it, they're probably going to be in a very beginner role just because um understanding where pharma's coming from, where the guidelines like FDA or Health Canada is coming from, can take some time, but it's definitely doable. Like I think a lot of people who are researchers or like coming from academia, they can be more of like an advisory role than doing the actual like field
Okay.
execution, or they can go into project management because they can understand the aspect of it, but obviously knowledge can also come from a job where you can learn from the job and
Yeah.
on the job. So definitely if you have like skills and you're looking into developing a new role or going into a new role, you can look at the typical expectations from that role as well and see how your skills are applying towards it. But I know for research, I know so many people who were in their university and academia background were in a research field, but they moved into this specific engineering field. So it is definitely like you are definitely able to adapt because it comes from continuous learning as well to understand what changes are coming in with a new role and with new skills.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much explaining very
Yeah, no,
clearly the things.
no
And
problem.
Thank you, Jagdish,
thank you.
for making this conversation more interactive. Now we have Dr. Iqbal Dipkor. Thank you, Dr. Iqbal, for being here. And you want to ask something, right? Over to you.
That's right. Yeah, I want to thank Umna for the very informative session that she's given. I really appreciated your insights and the practical advice that you've given. It's really helpful coming from somebody who has brought in diversity and got settled into the Canadian labor market. So thank you for that. I have a quick
Thank you.
question. That's just my curiosity. I was wondering, Umna, if you have had any interesting experiences related to the diversity you brought to Canada. Were there any challenges Um, were you able to make your diversity your strength? If there were challenges, how did you navigate them? That's my question.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that is a very, very good question. I think for me, like obviously we're all people of color, and especially with like coming in as a university student, sometimes the attitude, like for example, when I was starting off at another client last year, I was in it was not healthcare, it was the cosmetic industry. So it was very interesting to see that the people of color are the ones who are putting down other people of color. So my manager, who was also another lady who was also um like from the same background as we were, she had a problem with people that were coming from the same background as her. So there was a lot of like struggle in trying to understand their expectations, because there was a very different mindset towards people um like who are Indian or Pakistanis in the workplace, but it was coming from our own people. So I think for me, it was very important to put my foot down and be like, well, I'm sorry, but I am who I am and I can't change it. But something that is important for them to see is that you are not letting go of your personality and your ethnicity and your diversity, because it's something that brings you confidence and brings you a different skill set that some people are not going to have. I was always very like in my experiences, I was all because I did my schools. I was born and brought up in Pakistan, but then I came here for university. And I think for me, like, I have been exposed to so many different people and so many different cultures that I was able to understand where she was coming from and understand that there's always good experiences and bad experiences, and one negative experience in someone's life cannot be okay for them to treat someone like that. So I was able to really like advocate for myself and like talk to them. And then in the end, that person did actually apologize for some of the things that they had done. So I think for me, bringing in that different aspect and like not letting go of your identity was a very, very big part in advocating for myself and not letting someone put you down just because of your background.
Thank you for this wonderful answer, Umna. And I can relate to it very well, being somebody of color.
Yeah.
And I think we have to remember, like you said, there can be affinity biases where people who are similar to you can be biased towards you, but also there are some insecurities around us because people everywhere are different. And I think you've put it in the best way and you've done the best thing to stand by what you brought there. And I love that you advocated your personality like that. And, that stood out. So, yeah, very well done. Thank you for sharing your experience. That was interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you. And at the last, we have Preeti. You want to share us something?
Oh, good evening, ma'am. Good evening, sir. Good
Good
evening,
evening.
Good
Umna.
evening.
How are you?
Good evening.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm also doing great. Myself, Preeti Mishra. I'm working with IIMT Studies. We particularly provide online education and we try to help working professionals by providing them, engineering and management related courses. And we help them in their career growth. So there was one question regarding Canadian, persons doing struggle over there during the work time. So is there any platform through which we can reach them so that at least we can share them that we used to provide Scottish qualifications and you can go ahead with the courses. Is there any platform over there, Umna?
I think the biggest, and I've seen this mostly on LinkedIn, where people advertise the courses and the roles um that they're providing. So I've pretty much only seen those on LinkedIn posts, but I've also seen some um like member clubs that are advocating for those courses. Like for example, like in my workplace, we did have like a program called Engineers Without Borders, where they were sending people out for like construction management or engineering management to other places, just like
Mm.
Doctor Without Borders. So I think those are like small
Yes.
clubs and societies where people are advertising for those. And if you are affiliated with like a university or even some workplace, there's always like those training modules that can come into it. So I think mostly it's LinkedIn, and also reaching out to some learning and
Member club.
development teams.
Yeah. Thanks, Umna. And you really gave great, you imparted a great knowledge regarding Canadian workplace and work environment and how we can move to that place. So that was really knowledgeable. Thank you. I appreciate the knowledge which you gave.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
ma'am. Thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity to interact.
It's our pleasure to be there, you as are one of the participants. Thank you, Preeti.
Yes, yes. Thank you, ma'am.
So I think it's time for Brinda now.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. So my request, all of the participant in the session, please, there is a feedback form and fill for your feedback is value to us. So now the time has come for the vote of thanks. I officially announce that Umma ma'am, and I really appreciate what you have given today, the session on the navigating career in Canadian soil. So you are from the another country, the people are from another hemisphere, and they are coming together on same platform, knowing each other culture and how they are navigating themselves in different lifestyles and different time zones and coming here. Thank you, Umma. I appreciate your efforts you have given to sessions. Wonderful for everyone, and hopefully everyone had taken something out of the from this session. Thank you, everyone. So over to you, ma'am, and request everyone to please put your feedback to us so that we can make such session more wonderful for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. And these are the recorded sessions, and the recorded videos will be uploaded on IEEE website. So we will shortly share the links of that videos with you. And stay in touch. Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.